The dark truth about Kim Jong Un, his biggest fear exposed. Kim Jong Un, the enigmatic and secretive leader of North Korea, has long been the subject of global fascination, speculation, and intrigue. As the leader of one of the most isolated regimes in the world, Kim's every move is watched closely by both allies and adversaries alike. He's known for his iron grip over North Korea, his strongman image, and his determination to ensure the survival of his regime at all costs. But behind the bluster, military parades, and nuclear threats, there is a side of Kim Jong Un that most people don't see, one driven by fear, paranoia, and vulnerability. Kim Jong Un is terrified of this, and he doesn't want you to know. While the world knows Kim as the powerful leader who controls North Korea with an iron fist, there is one thing that keeps him awake at night, one thing that he fears more than anything else. This fear is deeply tied to the survival of his regime, his family's legacy, and his own grip on power. In this video, we'll uncover the dark truth behind Kim Jong Un's biggest fear, exploring the hidden vulnerabilities of a man who seems untouchable and exposing the truth about what could cause his downfall. The cult of personality and fear of losing power. To understand Kim Jong Un's biggest fear, we first need to take a look at the structure of power in North Korea. Unlike most world leaders, Kim Jong Un does not govern through a democratic system or rely on public support to maintain his position. Instead, his rule is built on a deeply entrenched cult of personality, where he is seen not just as a leader, but as a near-divine figure, descended from the great Kim Il-sung, his grandfather, and Kim Jong-il, his father. The Kim family dynasty has been in power for over 70 years, and any challenge to it threatens not only the Kim family's reign but also the carefully constructed mythos that has kept the regime intact. Kim Jong Un's leadership is centered on control of information, control of the military, and, most importantly, control of the people. North Korea is one of the most tightly controlled countries in the world, where dissent is punishable by imprisonment, torture, and even death. Kim Jong Un's biggest fear is not simply losing his position as the leader of North Korea. It's the collapse of the very system that sustains his power. A loss of control, an erosion of his authority, or a failure to maintain the country's military and political dominance would mean the end of the regime he inherited. This fear of losing power is what drives many of his decisions, both internally and on the global stage. The idea of losing power is deeply personal for Kim Jong Un. His family's rule has been built on absolute authority, and the regime has become synonymous with the Kim dynasty. If Kim were to lose power, not only would his family's legacy be shattered, but the very foundations of the regime would crumble. Kim's fear is compounded by his awareness that his grip on power is not as secure as it once seemed. Despite his strongman image, he has faced challenges to his authority both within his inner circle and from outside forces. Kim's fear of regime collapse. One of the greatest threats to Kim Jong Un's power is the potential collapse of his regime. While the North Korean government has maintained a strong facade of unity and stability, the reality is far more fragile. The country has been plagued by economic hardship, food shortages, and growing discontent among its people. Kim's fear of regime collapse is tied to several factors, but one of the most pressing is the impact of economic sanctions. The international community, led by the United States and the United Nations, has imposed severe sanctions on North Korea due to its nuclear weapons program and its aggressive military actions. These sanctions have crippled the North Korean economy, leading to widespread poverty and scarcity. While Kim Jong Un has been able to maintain a semblance of power through his military might, the growing economic strain has created cracks in the foundation of his rule. The collapse of the North Korean regime would also mean the end of Kim Jong Un's personal power. His fear is not just about the country's economic collapse, it's about the loss of his ability to control the narrative and the fate of his family's dynasty. Kim Jong Un's entire life has been shaped by his role as the supreme leader, and he is deeply invested in preserving that role for himself and his successors. The nuclear arsenal, a shield against internal and external threats. To protect his regime from external threats, Kim Jong Un has invested heavily in North Korea's nuclear weapons program. The country's nuclear arsenal is one of Kim's greatest sources of power and leverage, both domestically and internationally. On the global stage, Kim uses the threat of nuclear war as a bargaining chip, engaging in high-stakes diplomacy with world powers like the United States, China, and South Korea. However, Kim Jong Un's nuclear weapons program is also a source of great anxiety for him. While the weapons give him a sense of security, they also come with immense pressure. The constant threat of military conflict with the United States and its allies means that Kim must maintain a delicate balance between showcasing his nuclear capabilities and avoiding all-out war. Kim's fear is that his nuclear weapons could ultimately become his undoing. While they serve as a deterrent against foreign invasion, they also alienate North Korea from the international community and further isolate the regime. This isolation creates internal instability, as the country's population is left to suffer from economic sanctions and the effects of a closed-off society. The growing influence of the outside world. Another factor that terrifies Kim Jong Un is the growing influence of the outside world on North Korea's population. The country is one of the most isolated places on Earth, with strict control over information and access to foreign media. However, in recent years, North Koreans have become increasingly exposed to outside influences, especially through smuggled technology like USB drives, radios, and smartphones. Kim Jong Un's biggest fear is that this exposure to the outside world could lead to unrest within his population. North Koreans, especially the younger generation, are increasingly becoming aware of the vast differences between their lives and the prosperity enjoyed by citizens in other parts of the world. This growing awareness of alternative realities could ignite a desire for change and lead to social upheaval. The legacy of Kim Jong Un's rule. Finally, Kim Jong Un's biggest fear is tied to the legacy of his rule. As the third generation of the Kim family dynasty, he is keenly aware of the importance of preserving his family's reign for future generations. Kim Jong Un's father, Kim Jong-il, and his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, both built the foundation of North Korea's totalitarian state, and Kim Jong Un has worked to continue that legacy. Kim's fear of failing to secure a lasting legacy for his family drives his decision-making. He wants to ensure that his children, who are rumored to be in line to succeed him, inherit a powerful and secure North Korea. This fear of failure, of being remembered as the leader who lost it all, is a powerful motivator for Kim. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a comment with your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next one.